Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Gopi Jana Bhalabha Girivardhari. Jashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Jamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Gopi Jana Bhalava Girivardhari. Jashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Jamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivrajagacharya Ashtotara Shata Shishimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Nanda Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Iskon Pandaracharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Grantara Shimam Bhagavatam Ki Nitai Gaura Premanandi. Oh glories to the assembled devotees, oh glories to the assembled devotees, oh glories to the assembled devotees, oh glories to Shishiguru and Shiguranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, the Summon Bonon, Chapter 86, Arjuna kidnaps Subhadra and Krishna blesses his devotees. Text number 22 through 26. Te chutam praptan akarnya. Okay, so I read from 22 and then we get, well, let's read 26 now, I guess. Going. Bhagavan stat abhipretya dvajo priya chikirshaya ubhajor abhishat keham ubhabhyam tat alakshita. Bhagavanstat abhipretya dvayo priya chikirshaya ubhajor abhishatkeham ubhabhyam tat alakshita Bhagavanstat abhipretya dvayo priya chikirshaya ubhajor abhishatkeham ubhabhyam tat alakshita. Please chant. Bhagavanstat abhipretya dvayo priya chikirshaya ubhajor abhishageham ubhabhyam tat alakshita. Bhagavanstat abhipretya dvayo priya chikirshaya ubhajor abhishageham ubhavyam tat alakshita. Bhagavanstat abhipretya dvayo priya chikirshaya ubhajor abhishatkeham ubhavyam tat alakshita. Bhagavanstat abhipretya dvayo priya chikirshaya ubhajor abhishatkeham ubhavyam tat alakshita. Bhagavan, the Supreme Lord, tat this abhipretya, accepting dvayoho, of the two of them, priya, the pleasing, chikirshaya, wishing to do, ubhayo, of both, abhishat, he entered, geham, the houses, ubhabhyam, to both, tat, in that, entering of the other house, entering of the other's house, alakshitaha, unseen. I'm gonna read the verses before doing the translation, so we get the flow. Text number 22, translation. Hearing that Lord Achyuta had arrived, O king, the residents of the cities and villages of Videha joyfully came forth to receive him with offerings in their hands. Text number 23. As soon as the people saw Lord Uttamashloka, their faces and heart blossomed with affection. Joining their palms above their heads, they bowed down to the Lord and to the sages accompanying him, whom they had previously only heard about. Text number 24. Both the king of Mithila and Shrutadeva fell at the Lord's feet, each thinking that the spiritual master of the universe had come there just to show him mercy. Text number 25. At exactly the same time, King Maitila and Shrutadeva each went forward with joined palms and invited the Lord of the Dasharhas, to be his guest, along with the Brahmana sages. And number 26, which is read, translation, waiting to please them both, the Lord accepted both their invitations. Thus he simultaneously went to both homes, and neither could see him entering the other's house. Purport. According to Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti, Krishna visited Srutadeva and Bahulashva at the same time, but by manifesting himself in duplicate forms along with the sages. Thus, King Bahulasha thought that Lord Krishna has come only to his house, leaving Shrutadev to return home disappointed, while Shrutadev believed that just the reverse was the case. In Krishna, Srila Prabhupada remarks, quote, that Lord Krishna and his companions were present in both houses, although both the Brahmanas and the king thought that he was present in his house only, is another opulence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This opulence is described in the revealed scripture as Vaibhava Prakash. Similarly, when Lord Krishna married 16,000 wives, he also expanded himself into 16,000 forms, each one of them as powerful as he himself. Similarly, in Vrindavan, when Brahma stole away Krishna's cows, calf, and cowherd boys, Krishna expanding himself into many new cows, calf, and cowherd boys. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Ummilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurube Namaha. Namaham Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasaya Bhutale Srimate Brahmapada Swami Namaham Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirveshesha Shunyavadi Pashyatya Deshatarine Vancha Kalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Eva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. So, this is a very beautiful pastime that shows something very special in terms of the relation that is there between Krishna and Krishna's devotees, specifically his pure devotees. And when you describe pure devotees, the term that is used is Uttama Bhakta, the topmost devotee. And that same term is also described as Ananya Bhakta, which means a devotee who is exclusively devoted to Krishna. Single-minded, exclusive devotion. Ananya Bhakta means exclusive devotion. So there's nothing mixed, there's only exclusive focus on the service and the worship of Lord Krishna. And in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna describes the special quality and characteristic of that relationship between him and his unalloyed devotee as the supreme secret and the greatest knowledge. supreme knowledge. Supreme. And there's so much meaning in this narration. It's just the whole way that is being presented. Because, for one thing, this chapter starts by Maharaj Parikshit asking a specific question to Sukadev Goswami. And it was specifically about, he wanted to hear more about his grandmother and how was that she married Arjuna. So she wanted to hear about that pastime. And Srila Sukadev Goswami narrated the pastime. And then, like that, without being asked, spontaneously, he started to narrate this particular pastime of Krishna visiting these two devotees. And the reason he did that is because, it was spontaneous. He just started to say about that. But one of the things is that he was present there. He was present during that particular pastime. And there's so many special things that you can subtract just why this pastime happened. There's so many questions. One is, well, why Sukadev Goswami chose to start to narrate that without being asked. So the one thing is that he witnessed that pastime personally. He was there. So Krishna explained that as he decided to go and visit these two devotees who were in the same city, the city of Mithila, the kingdom of Videha, which was the ancient kingdom of Maharaj Janak. And so he summoned and invited, he decided to take along with him a whole group of sages, most prominent sages, amazing, group of personalities. Many sages, actually. The names are given. You you had Narada, and also Vyasadev, Vamanadev. Let me see what's there. Maitreya, Brihaspati, Atri, Parshuram, Asita, Aruni, Kamba, Shavana, and others also were there. And the others are described who were Gautama, and so they were all the great, famous sages that are part of the whole, Vedic stories like that, history. And prominent personalities. The ones that were mentioned here, they all either, some of them expansions of Krishna himself, like Vamanadev and Vyasadev, either direct expansion of expansion of his expansion, Parshuram. And then we have Asita, who is mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita by Arjuna. Narada, Asita, the Devala. And then Brihaspati, of course, is a great spiritual master of the heavenly planets. And Maitreya, we hear about Maitreya, great pure devotee of the Lord. And then you have Kamba and Shavana, who are mentioned in the 9th canto as part of the pastimes that are presented. They were part of the narration of the whole dynasty of the moon. Shavana, as you may recall, it was the sage who was performing austerities for so many thousands of years that a whole anthill covered him. And then only through, there were, to a little hole, he was the only thing that you can see through the hole in that mountain was his eyes. And then this girl, the daughter of a king, uh, I think her name was Sukadia or something like that. She pierced it. She was curious, and then she pierced it, thinking it was a worm or something like that, with a little blade grass. She pierced the eyes of Shavana, and then that caused a great disturbance and pain, and he cursed that whole family that will be afflicted by constipation. So the whole army and the king, everybody couldn't pass water and stool. So they were really distressed, and they find out that the cause was that curse. So then the king offered the beautiful prince to the sage Shavana, and Shavana married her, accepted, was pleased, but Shavana was very ugly and weak, because of austerities. And there's a whole story. Anyway, he was again brought to youth by the Ashwin Kumars, the Ashwini Kumar demigods, and all devotees, they have taken that Shavana Prakash or Shavan Prakash, that, yeah, Shavan Prash, however you say, you know, and that was the preparation that was made by the Srini Kumars to actually restore the youth of the sage. So anyway, famous sage Kamba also featured in the ninth canto as the sage who was the foster father of the mother of Maharaj Bharat, Shakuntala. So these are great personalities. Now Krishna is taking it all for, let's go and see my pure devotees. This is a very special opportunity and arrangement. And of course, the sages happily accepted. And it is explained that these sages, they don't participate or don't, especially travel in any type of opulent arrangement. They usually walk or sometimes fly, by their mystic powers. But in vehicles and vimanas and all that type of thing, no, they don't. They don't. They don't use any type of material convenience or things like that. Now, because they were going with Krishna, they ride in Krishna's special chariot. And our acharyas explain that as Krishna desired to go, Druka, who is Krishna's chariot driver, understanding Krishna's desire that he was going to take along all this retinue of sages, he arranged for this huge chariot that was able to accommodate everybody very comfortably. So I don't know, it was, like sometimes you see these big limousines, that can carry so many people. Like that was a chariot that the Ruka chose. So all these sages are traveling with Krishna. So it's very special. And why Krishna is taking these sages? What is this? And the fact that it was so, I mean, you can understand that it was a very important experience because Sukadev Goswami was very much touched that he was sharing this experience, personal experience, with Maharaj Pariksit. It was personal. For him, was personal to witness that. So, what is that they witnessed? That Krishna took them along was this most confidential space of love between Krishna and their unalloyed devotees. The intimacy that was there, an intimacy that sometimes you hear that many of these great sages don't have with the personality of Godhead, with Krishna himself. They pure devotees, but the level of intimacy is not it is not in the same level of intimacy. That's how it's explained. Something similar, there's, as we know, there's different levels of intimacy in the relations, in the rasas with Krishna. Krishna did the same thing with Uddhava when he sent him to Vrindavan to experience a much higher level of intimacy and love when he associated with the gopis and the Yasubrijavasis. So much that he was so affected by that for him he decided that I'd be a blade of grass in Vrindavan. That's the form that I want to assume because I want the dust of these devotees on my head. So Sukadev Goswami witnessed that exchange. So what is that exchange and why Krishna went out of his way to visit these two devotees? I mean, we see him visit regularly some family members, and especially you see them, Krishna, many occasions visiting the Pandavas, who were, especially in his intimate friend Arjuna. So Krishna will do that regularly, but you don't hear him just going out of his way in many occasions. At least I don't recall a lot of that he goes and specifically take a trip to go and visit these devotees. And why he visited these devotees? What was so special about these devotees? Because the narrations of Krishna's pastimes is filled with pure devotees. But Krishna went to visit these devotees. What made it so special about them? And our acharyas explain some of the qualities of these two devotees. Shrutadev was a very renowned, simple Brahmana, pure devotee. And King Bahulasha was a king, very opulent. But they both were in the same level of pure devotional service. The, the explanation, and one may think, they were so devoted to Krishna that just as is explained with this type of Uttama Bhaktas or Ananya Bhaktas, is that Prabhupada described um, that an Ananya Bhakta is 24/7 thinking of Krishna, fully absorbed in this, especially in all the 9 processes of devotional service, but especially in the process of hearing, chanting, and remembering Krishna, especially all the time, nitya, all the time, exclusive, devotion on that. So they were on that level. These two devotees were on that level. And the other thing that is described of these two devotees is that one, they saw themselves as not qualified to go and see Krishna personally. Because one may think, why didn't go to see Krishna? Why didn't travel and see Krishna personally? And Krishna was there in the same from Mithila to Vrindavan. I mean, some devotees travel even farther. Mithila is in where's Mithila? I don't know. It's in close. It's in the north, somewhere in the north of India. So they could travel to Dwarka or Mathura and see Krishna. Why not, going to see Krishna when he went to, like so many other kings and sages during the Kurukshetra solar eclipse? Krishna was there, and they all knew, and so many people went specifically, so many saintly kings and sages specifically to take darshan of Krishna. But they didn't. They felt themselves unqualified out of humility. And the other thing, part of that is also revealed by our acharyas, is that they make a vow to worship deities in, these vows to constantly worship the deities. So they couldn't move from their place because they were obliged or they were committed to the worship of the deities in a daily basis. Therefore, Krishna went to see them. Krishna decided to see them. So there is a famous verse in the ninth chapter, 922 of the Bhagavad Gita, that describe is famous because it describes the relationship, the special relationship that is there between the Ananya Bhakta and Krishna. And Ananyas Chittayanto Man Ye Jana Parupashate Tesha Nitya Viyuktanam Yogakshema Bahanyaham. That those who always worship me with exclusive devotion, meditating on my transcendental form, to them I carry what they lack and I preserve what they have. And the way this verse is being explained by our Vaishnava Acharyas, specifically Srila Prabhupada, but most beautifully by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, in which it reveals that this verse sort of describe the depthness and the beautiful reciprocal relationship that is there between Krishna and their pure devotees. First is the quality of the pure devotees, is exclusive devotion. So Prabhupada described like this in the purport of this verse. One who is unable to live for a moment without Krishna consciousness cannot but think of Krishna 24 hours a day. Being engaged in devotional service by hearing, chanting, remembering, offering prayers, worshiping, serving the lotus feet of the Lord, rendering other services, cultivating friendship, and surrendering fully to the Lord. Such activities are all auspicious and full of spiritual potencies. which make the devotee perfect in self-realization. So that his only desire is to achieve the association of the Supreme Personality of God. So this particular thing, the translation of abhyuktanam have these two meanings. Fixing devotion, that is exclusively fixing the devotion of Krishna, abhyuktanam. But abhyuktanam, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur reveals that also is this very strong, focused desire to be in the association with the Lord, to want to see the Lord. So this strong desire is what made the Lord reciprocate with them. So just as the devotee have this exclusive devotion and this very, very strong desire to be with the Lord, Krishna has the same reciprocal desire to be with that devotee. And then Prabhupada continues. Such devotee undoubtedly approaches the Lord without difficulty. This is called yoga. By the mercy of the Lord, such devotee never comes back to this material condition of life. Shema refers to the merciful protection of the Lord. The Lord helps the devotee to achieve Krishna consciousness by yoga. And when he becomes fully Krishna conscious, the Lord protects him from falling down to a miserable conditioned life. So the Lord completely take care of the devotee, provides, just take full responsibility on carrying what they lack and preserving what they have. And the way it is explained is that basically the pure devotee who is fully surrendered to the Lord is perfectly maintained by the Lord. So this position of this Ananya Bhakta is perfectly exemplified by these two devotees. Shrutadeva is explained that he was a very poor Brahmana, simple, didn't have at all any type of material facility. And as a poor Brahmana, one may think like Brahmanas will go house to house and ask for alms, to receive, to beg for charity like that. Some renounced people do like that, Madhukari. But it is explained that Shrutadeva, he didn't ask for anything. Only the things that came to him, he accepted. And with that, he accepted. That's how he maintained his family. He didn't work. He just performed devotional service. And whatever came to him, he will accept happily. So it is plain that Krishna will make the arrangement to receive exactly what he needs for him and his family to be supported. So Krishna perfectly supported him. So in general, there's the idea, sometimes you hear the idea that in order to come to that position of being fully surrendered and maintained by Krishna, one have to give up um, any type of work, you have to come to this karma sannyas, full renunciation. You have to renounce work in order to come to the position of simply being maintained by the Lord. And that's exemplified by Shrutadeva. Shrutadeva was like that. But then there's King Bahulashya, who was a king, who was in the same level of pure devotional service. But he was a king, so he had to perform all kind of work. It was his duty to protect, a whole kingdom, and to accept wealth and to have all kinds of opulences. But he had also, although in that situation, he had the same type of exclusive devotion and the same strong desire to be in the association with the Lord. And the same type of detachment, although he was fully engaged with his material duties. So, in reality, this type of position, you don't have to necessarily renounce work to be in that position of pure devotional service. It's a, it's a matter of the heart, it's not a matter of material circumstance. So these two devotees were example. And then Krishna, with the same strong desire to be with these devotees, Krishna also, because of the exclusive devotion of these devotees, Krishna also, with happiness and with 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 pleasure, we're giving so much pleasure to maintain and protect these devotees. So he does that not because of the devotees' piety or because of the devotees' you know, because by their piety he have to provide something, or he have to give, there's an obligation, there's an exchange. No. This level of relationship is a relationship that is fully in the platform of pure love, unmotivated and uninterrupted. So to witness that is something very, very beautiful. And of course, just as the sages witnessed that, by the mercy of the Srimad Bhagavatam, we also witness this type of true, hearing. And we can see through hearing uh, these beautiful exchanges of pure love. So then, in these levels of devotion, because each one of these devotees who are in that level, they have exclusive devotion, then the Lord reciprocates with exclusive. So then we see that the Lord does this thing, that the reciprocation is that he creates this circumstance in which the devotee feels that Krishna is exclusively reciprocating with him. So in the connection, in this situation, as the two devotees invite Krishna, then Krishna reciprocate with both simultaneously. But each one of them is not that they are aware that, oh, Krishna, how wonderful Krishna is doing with him and with me too. No, their feel is that, oh, Krishna loved me so much and is so kind to me that he's doing this exclusively with me. And then you have the same narration with the feelings of the gopis as he expanded, during the Rasa Lila. They're thinking, oh, Krishna is only dancing with me. Or the feelings of the queens of Dwarka, oh, Krishna is always with me. I'm his favorite queen. Or the cowherd boys, Krishna is eating with me. He's looking at me. He's in front of me. So they're not able to see that, oh, no, he's doing it with everybody simultaneously. They don't see that. What they see is like, oh, it's just with me. In fact, the circumstance was that what they saw, each one of them, is that the other one was disappointed, going home disappointed. Now, the wonderful thing is here of this full arrangement. Now, you imagine Krishna just does all this arrangement to have this reciprocal moment with the devotee. So, first of all, he expanded himself in two. But then he expanded himself, because that's how I understand it, and maybe, because it's not clearly mentioned here in the purpose by the acharyas. But in the purport that describe what Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, is that Krishna expanded as the sages, just like he expanded as the cows and 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 the cowherd boys during the Brahman Vimohan Lila. So now you have two sets of Krishna, two sets of sages, two sets of the devotees, two sets of the devotees, because listen to this. So now Krishna expands and then he goes with the two. And the sages, now you have two sets of sages, and the sages go with Krishna, one Krishna, and another set of sages go with Krishna, the other Krishna. And then you have two Shuddha Devas and two Bahulasyas. One Shuddha Deva and one Bahulasya goes with Krishna and the sages to their home. One Shuddha Deva and one Bahulasya going home alone, disappointed. And then each one of them is seeing this. So quite something. And Krishna is expanding to create this moment of exclusivity with the devotee. And each one of them is feeling that. How kind Krishna is, that even his great devotee, he prefers me over his great devotee. How wonderful and how fortunate I am, to have such a wonderful personality of my Lord. So it's quite something. And I'm going to read you something too and finish with that. It's from Krishna book in two further chapter 88. Krishna describes to Maharaj Yudhisthira, and actually Prabhupada writes on Krishna's exchange with Maharaj Yudhisthira. He explained about this mercy of Krishna towards the devotee. And the mercy that is in that space of pure love between Krishna and his devotee. And it's just very, very nice. Actually, this was sent to me. It happens that it was sent to me on Monday by Srila Bhaktisundar Maharaj. and it's just perfect for this, so I thought I'd read it to you. Lord Krishna says to King Yudhishthira, my devotee, quote, my devotee is not deterred by any adverse conditions of life. He always remains firm and steady. Therefore, I give myself to him and I favor him so that he can achieve the highest success of life. End of quote. Prabhupada writes, this is Krishna book. The mercy bestowed upon the tri-devotee by the Supreme Personality is described as Brahma. So a tri-devotee is a devotee who has been trustworthy, is proven to be a topmost devotee in all circumstances. Regardless of whatever circumstance, this devotee is fixed, is not affected. Tri-devotee. So that mercy is described as Brahma, which indicates that the greatness of that mercy can be compared only to the all-pervasive greatness of Brahman. Brahma means unlimitedly great and unlimitedly expanding. That mercy is also described as Paramam, for it has no comparison within this material world, and is also called Shukshman, very fine. Not only is the Lord's mercy upon the tri-devotee great and unlimitedly expansive, but is also the finest quality of transcendental love between the devotee and the Lord. Such mercy is further described as Chin Matram, completely spiritual. The use of the word Matram indicates absolute spirituality. Absolute spirituality with no tinge of material qualities. That mercy is also called Sat, eternal, and Anantakam, unlimited. Since the devotee of the Lord is awarded such unlimited spiritual benefit, why should he worship the demigods? A devotee of Krishna does not worship Lord Shiva or Brahma or any other subordinate demigod. He completely devotes himself to the transcendental loving service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. When, after the dense dark night, there is finally sunrise in the morning, it is very pleasant. When there is a scorching heat, cold water is very pleasant. When there is freezing winter, hot water is very pleasant. Similarly, when a devotee, after experiencing the distress of the material world, relishes the spiritual happiness awarded by the Lord, his position is still more pleasant and enjoyable. This is from Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, chapter 88, the deliverance of Lord Shiva. So that's what this very special pastime is describing to us, and just the exchanges of love between these two pure devotees and Lord Krishna. Any comments or questions?
It's interesting that Vamana Dev was there. He's not exactly a sage.
Yeah, yeah. Well, he comes as a Brahmana, you know. So, and as a renounced Brahmana, like that. So, but yeah, and Yeah, it's very mysterious, the passions of the Lord. But the fact is that so many of those sages, I mean, why he took them? In one sense, the only thing that one can think is that he want them to witness this. The fact is that it did affect Sukadev Goswami, you know, because he's recalling this pastime. But why Vamanadev? Yeah, that's interesting. There's a lot of things, questions that we can bring. Parshuram. Well, Parshuram also is described as a Brahmana sage. And then you have Brigo Muni. But, yeah, yeah, interesting.
Is it that Krishna brought them, or they just wanted to follow him?
It is said, I mean, one of the purpose that the acharyas give is that Krishna wanted to take them, and he, they got that summon in one sense. Let me see here. 18. This is what the acharyas say about it.
For text 17.
Soon the sages tired of going on foot now. There was something that I can remember. I remember reading.
But here I'm just reading, it says, while leaving Dwarka, he insisted that the sages who wanted to come with him should join him on his chariot,
Yeah,
because otherwise they would exhaust themselves following on foot.
yeah, yes, yes. In the purport of 17, it's explained. When the sages tired of going on foot, forcibly put them on the chariot. Okay, he said, this is Sanatana Goswami. He said, he mounted his chariot along with sages who live in Dwarka or who just by his thought gathered together with him to please the two devotees. So, yeah. Any other comment, question? Rina? Thank you so much, everybody. Grantara Shriman Bhagavatam Ki Jai.